I tell you, I have such a difficult time with this technical stuff. It's not even funny. Y'all, if you end up watching this on the replay, I am so sorry. I logged in actually 5 minutes before I was supposed to originally and sat there talking to myself for about 40 minutes. And apparently, it didn't record. Like the little green light was there and it just didn't work out. It didn't record. So I got to do it again. And my dog still wants to go out. He's he's sleeping right now, so he's gonna have to be good because I said I was gonna do this last week, so I'm gonna make sure I do this. Hi, Deborah. Good morning. It's 6 o'clock here, but it's still siesta time, so everybody's not out yet, but they're coming out. So I hear the kids, they start screaming outside. And so that's how you know like everybody's getting ready to come outside. So around 7:30, that's when it gets really, really loud. And I have my door open. So let me know if it gets too crazy. Um, but yes, one is perfect. Thank you for being here, Deborah. And I will talk to you because I am talking. This is actually part two because a lot of people ask me, how did I make my move? How was I able to do it financially? And that's what I want to talk about today. Because before I talked about it in sort of a roundabout way, but I didn't go into a lot of detail because I didn't think people really care that much. But now I know people want to know, inquiring minds want to know. Find her freedom. Hi, how are you? Find her freedom. What's your first name? I don't know who it is. Tell me, tell me, tell me. I'm glad we are here together in this space to talk about this. We're talking about the numbers. And oh, for Francis. Francis, I should have known. Okay. I can see, like, I can't really see. I need new glasses. They're on their way. Um, yeah. But everything looks like blurry, actually, so I can't see that well. But if I could, I guess I'd probably be able to see. I can see that you have an image on your icon, but I can't tell who it is. But thank you for being here, Francis. I appreciate you. We're talking today. This is for the women who say, I can't afford to leave. And we're talking about how you actually can afford to leave. I just did this video. I was supposed to be live at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I was actually live 10:55 and it didn't record. I was talking to myself for 40 minutes and it didn't record. The green light was there, everything, but it just didn't work out. So I have to do it again. And my dog was like whining and stuff, but now he's sleeping. So now I got to even kind of rush to get through this information that I want to talk about. But today we're talking about the math of it all. And I wanted to talk about how when I left, I had a lot of financial burdens because I had hospital bills, I had doctor's bills, and I was in this long term relationship where I had downsized before we got together. But then after being together for 6.5 years, I accumulated a lot of stuff. And so, what was I going to do with all that stuff when I departed from the relationship? I put it into storage units because I didn't know what else to do. I had two very, very big storage units that I stuffed everything in. And I felt like, okay, you know what? I need this stuff. Like, I need my stuff. And what I really have a hard time separating myself from is books. I just love books. Like, are y'all like that with books? I am. Like, at one point, I said, okay, this is a lot of books. I mean, when I tell you I had a library of books, and I started taking screenshots of them. So at least I would remember, okay, these are the books that I love. I want to get them again, or even digitally. But I didn't get to do all of that before I left. But what I did do was I started, um, first I came to the realization that you don't need all this stuff. And it cost so much to ship when I looked at the shipping costs. Because by then, I already knew, okay, I'm leaving. I'm moving abroad, and it costs a lot to ship. And by the time you pay for shipping costs, you would have bought that stuff, I don't know how many times over. So, okay, Miriam, calm yourself and get rid of it. And at least when you're selling the things, you can kind of hand select, okay, they look like a person who will take care of your stuff. So, you know, so when I tell you I was on Facebook Marketplace, I used Craigslist, and people will tell you, oh, those are from back in the day. Those were my main sources of places where I sold my things. And every day I was meeting up with a different person to sell stuff. I sold camera equipment, musical instruments, furniture, clothing. I sold on those places and on like those apps, like what are some of those apps called? Is it Depop? I don't remember what they're called. But I was taking pictures of everything, had them up on hangers, and I just sold a lot of things every day. And that cash, I pocketed, and that was money towards a bill and towards my move. So, I had exited out of the relationship, but at that point I was still at work. So at work, um, I started singing my swan song because I didn't think at that point I was moving abroad, but I knew I was leaving there. But I didn't know when. I mean, it could have been a year from then. But then, of course, they had that conversation with me where, they were giving me grief about vacation time and bereavement days for when my mother passed away. And that's when I said, okay, you know what? God said, go tell them now, tell them right now. So I left out of there. And before that, even though I kind of knew I was going to leave out of the job, at least I was paying off bills with every check. I mean, every time I got a paycheck, I would pay off another bill, another doctor bill, another hospital bill or something. And I still have bills. I still have them that I'm paying, but things are so much cheaper when you move abroad. And I know, Francis, you have traveled so much, so you know what I'm saying, like how much cheaper things are. We think that we have to have so much money to move abroad, and you really don't. I went to the grocery store the other day and stocked my freezer and my refrigerator for weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks of worth of food, and it was only 60 euro. I stocked my cabinets, everything, and it was so cheap. So, things are cheaper here. Healthcare is cheaper. A lot of us were dealing with healthcare issues. I know I was, and that's how I accumulated all those bills in the first place. Had I known that, yeah, find our freedom. You're saying, yeah, Francis said, yep, life is way cheaper outside the US. Right. Like even going to the hospital, I had to go to the hospital, what was it, a week and a half ago or a week ago? I got sick. I couldn't breathe. Like I woke up in the middle of the night and I was literally like I couldn't breathe. And apparently I had a virus, and I had gotten because it was a sandstorm the night before I left from Morocco, and a lot of that got in my lungs, I guess. And so I had a virus, and all of that was in my lungs. So it caused a lot of inflammation, and so I had to go to the hospital here. It was just so much cheaper. There was no co-payment, none of that stuff to deal with. It's like, okay, now here's the payment. You don't have to pay today, but it's cheap anyway, and you'd be done with it. And then I talked about on my last video how, there's like the Convenio Especial, where you pay $60 a month to get all your medical needs taken care of. There's just, it's like that. everywhere except for in the US. Like the US is just ripping people off left and right. Yeah, I said it. I said it, US. But so back to, that with the bills and everything, I had all of that. I still have bills. They're not as significant as they were, but at some point you have to say, okay, what's more important? Is it my health that's more important, that's causing me to feel this way being here? Or is it more important for me to exit out when I know that I'll start healing outside of this situation? For instance, I paid $34 in Mexico for the same mani pedi that I paid $90 for in the US. I hear that. Yes. That's I'm telling you. Here, there's a shop right downstairs for me, and it's really cheap. I haven't been there yet, but one of my neighbors told me she goes there regularly, and she was telling me it's like 18 bucks. I was like, okay. Like that's what I'm talking about. And I don't get my nails done, but still, if I chose to, I would just do that here. And I can't because, I'm trying to learn how to play the guitar and I have to keep them really short. Like right now, they're really long for playing the guitar. So I have to cut them again. So that stuff was going on. I looked into shipping costs. It was just way too much. So I decided to um, get rid of all that stuff from the storage units. I was able to downsize to one storage unit, and I even downsized that one because they were two big storage units. And so the second one, I downsized that one. So I still have a storage unit that I'm paying for in the US. And, at some point, paying for the storage unit is going to cost more than what the stuff in it is worth. And, I have some things in there that are worth a pretty penny. So I do want to go there. I'm not trying to bring it back here though. I want to sell the stuff. So I have to make arrangements to go there, which is an airfare that I have to pay. That all adds up. So those are things that, you have to consider when you decide, okay, I'm going to put my stuff in storage or I'm going to keep the stuff. Like, the things that cost the same things that you buy in the US is less than half the price everywhere else. And all of that stuff, everywhere you buy it from, is coming from China anyway. So you might as well, if you're going to Southeast Asia, buy it from there, because it's going to be so much cheaper. Hey, Tracy. How are you? Glad you're here. Thank you. Yeah, we're talking about how much cheaper it is being abroad than it is in the US, and why a lot of us are living in fear of making the move. And, I'm just telling people, and that people get mad at me all the time because I say it's just a decision, because it really is. If you look back, say if you decide to move tomorrow and you move and you look back like a year from now and say, wow, I wish I had done this sooner. And you think of the reason why you never moved in the first place. It's the same reason. That reason didn't go away, but you started thinking about it differently. Your mindset changed. And that's what I'm trying to get people to see, that you got to change your mindset about stuff. My bills didn't go away. I still had them. I still have them. But because things are so much cheaper here, I can still pay off those things and still have healing in my body in the place where I want to be and have peace of mind. And that peace is what's really causing me, it's helping me to heal. And it helps me to be relaxed enough so I can create and grow my business so that I can pay those bills. Yes, I am so glad to have you here, Tracy. Thank you. Thank you. And the other thing is, and this goes back to the fear part, um, because I guess, I'm a Sag. I'm a Sag. Not only am I a Sag, I'm a Gen Xer. So those two things together can really like pack a punch, okay? Because I'm used to being independent, and a Sag will just it a Sag is adventurous. So we'll just go out and do pretty much anything, like even on a whim. And so some of the things like fear was never a big part of my life. Um, but there was a time when, like, when during COVID, when everybody was leaving apartment buildings. I mean, in New York, we had whole entire complexes almost completely empty. Landlords in the poshest areas of New York City were practically giving away apartments. You can have 2 months free rent, on Fifth Avenue in Columbus. That's unheard of. But they were doing it. And when people were saying, "Oh, take your money out of the bank and run, or take the money out of the bank, put it under your mattress, just, you can't trust the banks." I was like, "What? This is the time to buy, because at some point this is going to be over. And then what are we going to do?" There were a lot of people, not a lot of people, there was a handful of people who got rich, and then there were other people who were worse off. And then there were people who stayed the same and held on tight. I didn't get rich. You know why? Because I didn't have the kind of money where I could like pour into what I wanted to. If I had, I would have. But I did make investments. I bought real estate, which is now my investment properties. Like, I have rental income now, but I bought it at a time when everybody else was abandoning properties, selling them off. And I bought them at a time when interest rates were like 2.5%. So now, those things are worth like 5 times what they were before. And that's my income. I have that. I invested in stocks when people were pulling their money out of stocks. I was like, at some point, people are going to start traveling again. Yeah, the stocks could be like $10 now, or $5 for airlines, or for Microsoft and Apple took a dip. I was like, at some point this is going to go back up, because we know that life is cyclical, and whatever goes down is going to come up. That's just how it is. So yes, peace of mind is absolutely everything. And having those investments helps me now. I took my money out of 401k. I took a loss. Yes, I did, because peace of mind was better for me than having that money just sitting there. Yeah, it was growing. Yes, but I wasn't at the company anymore. So it was no longer making money for me. It was no longer doubling like it was before. So I might as well use it, because money is a tool anyway. It's just an energy, and it's not there to sit there. We have to use it. God tells us in his word that, with the gifts of the talents and everything, he wants us to use that money. He wants us to use what we have, use our resources, use our gifts and talents to multiply, to be of service to other people. And I take that totally to heart. Like, now I'm in a place where I have peace of mind, where I can feel like where I can give back. I had already I was already giving back at the last job I was at, because I had taken a cut in pay to work there, because I felt so strongly about giving back and being of service to that community. I was a director of a dental program there. And, but, when they told me that, okay, but we're not giving any more raises, well, that's how you compensate me. That's how you're going to tell me that I'm worth being here. I had already taken a cut and pay, so now why am I here? I feel like I've given the most, and now you got to meet me halfway. But that wasn't happening, and so it was between that and all the other grief that I got about vacations and all that stuff, I said, you know what, this is not worth the anxiety anymore because I'm working 12-hour days for what? For who? It's not for me. And some of that has to be about me at some point. So I decided to go all in and think about me and say, okay, this is causing the deterioration of my health literally because I got to a point where I couldn't even barely walk because the back pain that I was having was debilitating. And then I had a thyroid issue where my body was shutting down. I had autoimmune issues. I would break out in hives that were literally like the size of plates. I think I posted some pictures and some videos before. It was so bad. My lips would swell up. And I don't know if you've seen the Elephant Man. That's what I looked like. That's what I looked like. Like, and it would come and then go and then come and go. It was like no rhyme or reason to it. But it was all stress. It was all inflammation from diet. And I just had to get out of there to start to heal again. It was either them or it was me. And I decided to choose me. And I say this to say that, a lot of us, a lot of women are in better circumstances than I was. Those were smart moves that I made. But I mean, when I look at the women that I've been talking to, they're in much better places than I ever was before I left. And I'm like, honey, make your move. Make your move now. Like, why are you waiting? There's no reason to wait. Yes, there's reasons, but it's your mindset that has to change about that reason. People wait because of the kids. Well, I gotta wait until my kids are grown. You gotta wait till your kids are all grown before you live your life and be happy. Francis said, OMG, that used to happen to me too. Hives like crazy. Yeah. And the internal doctor that was treating me, she was like supposedly one of the best in the country. She said to me, "Oh, there's absolutely no relationship to your thyroid and to what was it? Um, I forget now. I can't think." But she said, "There's no relation to this and this." And I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "There's got to be." I said, "Because there's so many women on the internet who I'm finding that are going through the same thing. And you're telling me that you're going through that too. So there's got to be." She's like, "Well, there's no scientific evidence." I don't care. That's one thing about me. I don't care what the scientists say because we already know what God says. Because science finds out later what God said already in his word. And so I don't believe anything the scientists say about, our earth and what's happening and stuff. I just don't believe it. If it doesn't say it in God's word, I don't believe it because they try to cover up things and have us believe things and have us, it's a whole nother topic. I shouldn't even go there. Tracy said amen. But it's true. It's so true. But yeah, I was going through all those issues, and the doctors would have me believe, according to science, that what I knew was true was not true. And so I just said, okay, whatever you think, you do you, and I'm going to do me because I know that this is what it is. And I know that I can heal this because they put me on thyroid medicine. And when you take thyroid medicine, they will tell you that you have to stay on it for life now. I think I took a week's worth of thyroid medicine. When I went back to the doctor was like, "Are you still taking your thyroid medicine?" I was like, "No." "Well, that's the only way you're going to get any improvement." And I just, I looked at her and I said, okay, she made my next appointment. Gradually, I started tapering myself off of that stuff. Like I had went from a whole pill to to half to a quarter. And I also changed my diet completely. Like I eliminated everything from my diet, everything. And when I tell you I reintroduced certain foods back into my system, and that's what did it. That's what did it. I realized and found out what actually works for your health and what doesn't, especially for women after a certain age. It's like don't you can't tell me nothing that I don't already know or haven't experienced or haven't spoken to another woman about, because all of these thousands of, probably more, tens of thousands of women who are experiencing the same thing, and you're telling me there's no relationship. I don't believe it. So I was going through all of that stuff, and I had, and they were telling me, oh, it's an autoimmune issue. And you know what they told me? It's because you don't it's an autoimmune issue means you don't love yourself. That's what they said. And I had to go deep and think about that. And I was like, that's not it. It's not that I don't have love for myself. It's because I'm stressed out by the decisions that I'm making with myself. Decisions of staying here and staying in situations that I shouldn't be in. Now, if you want to call that not having love, so be it. But it is to a certain extent not putting me first. So I definitely took ownership of that. And when I discovered that, then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to change that. I'm going to start putting me first. And the only way I can do that is to remove myself from the situation, because you can't heal in the same situation that's causing you illness. And we always think that we want to have all our ducks in a row. We want to have it all figured out, all the money. We got to have $500,000 in the bank. Why? You certainly don't need that much money to move abroad. I don't know about moving other places in the US. I can't speak to that. I can only speak about moving abroad. So, Tracy said, I really need to change my diet. Well, come join the Freedom Collective and join our sisterhood, because we talk about stuff like that too. We're some of the ladies are starting a program now that can help you. It's I put together a program that helped me with all of the things. I took all of the things that I went through and put it in a program, and it really helped me. And I want to just, so many people, so many women that I've been talking to are going through certain things, and I was like, you know what? I can help you. And so that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing now with that program. So I decided to leave all that stuff behind, and I have not looked back. I'm happier than I've ever been. I feel confident. Um, People tell me all the time my skin is glowing, my hair is healthy. My skin was all dry and brittle. My hair was dry and brittle. My skin was like very dry. You could see like the scales and stuff, like especially around on my legs and everything. I was like, what in this is what old age is like. This is not cool. Because my mother would always tell me, wait till you get older. Wait till you get older. You don't know what old age is. And I, I was nervous about that. But then I realized, we don't have to sit back and just wait for old age to attack us and consume us. We can do something about it. We don't have to feel as old as we are, whatever that is. It's all, we don't have to do that. Like I know that I'm almost 60. I'm almost 60 years old. Some guy was trying to talk to me the other day, and you know what he said? Like, because I told him, he's like, oh, do you have any kids? Whatever. I told him I had two kids. One's in his 30s. I have a daughter in college. And he said, how old are you? Now you know that's the wrong question to ask me because I'm still from America. Don't ask my age. So that was the last conversation that we had. Don't ask me that. But I'm telling y'all, I'm almost 60. In the Freedom Collective, we talk about stuff like that. You know, there's no shame because we're all over 50. But, you know, I'm not like in America, people are like, oh, you're 60. This is how you're supposed to act. This is what you're supposed to look like. In Spain, in the other countries that I've been to over 6 countries now in 1 year, and nobody thinks about stuff like that outside the US. Age is literally just a number. I'm in Spain. Hi, SL Flame. I'm in Spain, in Alicante to be exact. Me too, Tracy. You're turning 60. Okay. We got to celebrate. Celebrate life. Celebrate where we are and just enjoy ourselves. You know, enjoy our peace. And if you don't have peace right now, why not? Why not? Is there anybody here that's in the chat right now that feels like you want to make a move, but you haven't yet because of something? Just put a fire, fire sign in there. And then ask yourself why. Oh, that's what I was talking about before, because I know people who don't leave because they want to wait until their kids are grown. I worked with the VP of the company that I was at, and he had been there over 10 years. And when I tell you he ran that company like the back of his hand, he did everything for them. Yeah, Tracy. Yeah. Ask yourself, what's stopping you? This man was a doctor, a physician in his country. Very, very, oh gosh, he's very smart. This man knew everything. And he didn't want to leave this company because he wanted to wait until his kids were finished college and grown because he didn't want to like shake anything up for them. And I said, your kids are going to be happy because you're happy. If you're not living your best life, what good are you doing them? And what good are you doing yourself? Now, it's one thing to talk to women this way, but for men, you know, they have different kind of mindset, different way of thinking. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yep. We're all like, you know, we there comes a point in time where we all have to decide what we're going to do. We're going to just move forward or we're going to stay and marinate in it for another 5 years. But I left the company and I would always tell him like you are so smart and intelligent. I don't know, I don't understand why you're still here. And he said, well, I'm not going to be here in 5 more years. I'm like, 5 more years? You don't know what your life is going to look like in 5 years. You could be dead in 5 years. You could literally get run over by a taxi cab in New York here, like next month. Like, why are you still here? Like, what do you show your kids that you came here for a reason to this country to do this and do it? Because he wanted to be a physician in this country. And I guess he had to get a residency. And I hope he doesn't watch this because I'm telling too much of his business. He won't mind because he did it though. He left the company. He called me 2 weeks after I left and told me he left too. When I told them I was leaving, he was surprised. He was shocked. Like he was like, "What? You're leaving?" And then he left too because it's like, you know, one person does it, they see what's possible. And if anybody is looking at you, it's definitely your kids. Your kids are looking at you. My son, he's 33 now, and he was always a kid who would say, I'm never leaving the US. Well, I made that boy. I traveled with him to different places in Europe, Switzerland, and he still, even after that, said, I'm never leaving the US. Went to high school and everything, and he ended up moving to California. And even then, doing that, I was shocked. Okay, so you're moving to California. He stayed there for a number of years. And then all of a sudden, after I made my move, he moved to Thailand. What? But they can see what's possible after you do it. My daughter she'll be 19 in July, has been to over 30 countries, most of them on her own, because they could see that, and she did that within the course of 4 years. Like, your kids want to see you happy, and you have to show them what's possible. And not only show them what's possible, the people around you are watching too. We're here to be of service to other people, and it doesn't have to be physical. It can be just to show them what's possible. Because a lot of people, even on this chat, I'm sure, probably have a lot more money than I do, but you haven't made your move yet. And it's really just a decision and about changing that mindset. Like, okay, you know what? This is just going to work out. Because even if, like, say, for example, I know people who are who have certain family dynamics, and they think they're the only one who can um, take care of somebody, because that just happened. Where are you going? My dog is running around. Take care of someone, and that happened to this one woman I know, and she had three other siblings, I think, and she was like, "Oh, they live far away," or da 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 da. What? Let me tell you, after she left, those siblings stepped up because they had no choice. They had to. What are they gonna do? Leave their parents, on their own? And even if they did, your parents want the best. They want the best for you, also. So my mother was my mother was dying when I told her that I was leaving the US. And her first reaction was, "What? Moving out of the country?" But, she was barely talking then, but it brought a smile to her face. She was I could tell she was happy about it. Because she was a traveler and she loved to travel. She didn't when she was younger, but she started traveling a lot when she was like in her 40s, and then just kept on traveling after that. Like, so it's never too late. It's never too late. And you just have to just get out there and do it. Just to see what's on the other side. You know what? If it means that much to you, whatever stuff you have, whatever person that's holding you back, they're still going to be there. You know why? Because you're the one making the change. Everything is still going to be the exact same way you left it. But if you make the change for you, you're not only going to be able to see what's on the other side, which is probably 10 times, 100 times greater than what was over there, but you can always go back to whatever you had going on down there. You can always go back, but just, you know, try. Not even try. I'm not going to say try, because when you try to do something, you're just kind of going over and over again. You're not really doing the thing all to completion, but just do it. Just take the leap, experience it for a while, and if it doesn't work out, maybe that particular place is not for you. Maybe there's another place that's even better. So don't even think about like, oh, well, that place, I tried to move abroad. Well, maybe that place abroad wasn't right for you, but there might be another place. Some people want to have a large expat community wherever they go. Me, myself, I didn't want that at all. I wanted to be in a place where I didn't know a single soul and where they were speaking another language. Those are my top two priorities. And so that's what I have right now. And I love it. I don't regret it at all. So your body knows when you have to make a move, when it's time. Your body sends you signals. And as women, that's our intuition. That's our God given intuition. Men don't have that, not like we do. We're the nurturers. We're the ones who can sense when the child is not well or needs to talk or something, or if another woman is feeling something, and we have the empathy. We have all of that innately, but we have to pay heed to it. And then it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And when we don't, it starts to chip away at us gradually. And, until we just are so sick, whether it's mental, physical, but, live your dream. What's everybody saying in the chat? Anything new? That statement of you can always go back scares me. I agree. The body gives you signs. Why does it scare you about going back? Because it's too something that like it's a comfort for you and you don't want to, what is it? But yes, the body gives us signs. My body was screaming at me, leave this relationship, leave this job. Leave this area. And yeah, I felt it every day. I had a commute to work that was like over an hour. And when I couldn't even get out of the car in the morning when I got to work, because my body, just from sitting there, it felt like I was a pretzel, like everything was all bent up, and I had to unfold one leg and then the other, and I had to do certain stretches in my seat just to get up out of the car. It was bad. And then I would limp to go. There were like a short landing that I had to go up before I got to the elevator, and I could barely go up the stairs. And then once I got up there, I had to walk down the hallway to my office, and then I'm trying to put on a face. I can't let anybody see that I'm in pain and then I can, barely walk and stuff. And I don't know what people were seeing. There was only, I think, one person who really knew that I was having some issues, because I told her, because I was at one point, I was feeling so much in pain that day. She came into my office and she's like, what's the matter? And I told her. So then after that, she could see when I was in pain. She's like, oh, it's your back, isn't it? Or it's your leg. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with you ladies. Anything that you want to talk about as far as the math and leaving is concerned? I would sit in my car in the parking lot for a while before I went to my office. That's what we do, right? I did the same thing. I made a YouTube short about it. It was a funny one about sitting in the car. But that's what we do. Like, you got to psych yourself up to go in mentally, physically. You got to pump yourself up just to, face the toxicity. I mean, there were people there at my job who'd been there over 15 years and hated it and talk badly about it every single day. Now, my office, I purposely made it very zen, and people will come in there to talk. It was like I don't know what they were thinking that they want to come to my office to talk. Maybe they were trying to, they could feel the zen and wanted to like get their stuff out so they could feel that peace also. I mean, I even had like um, binaural beats playing in the background and everything, but they would come in and always like talk about stuff, and they would have arguments with one another, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like how much more can I deal with this? The thought of starting over again in a difficult economy when you've given up everything. Starting over in a difficult economy in the US. Yeah, in the US. But just remember, we're in our 50s. You're not starting over. You're not starting over. You're starting over with with experience, with skills, with a whole bunch of gifts. So you have the best foundation ever to catapult yourself into something else. You're not starting over. You're starting from somewhere great. And once you get out of your current environment, then so much better. Let me tell you, my sister sent me something yesterday, and it was something about some news article about the economy. And she's like, I thought that you might want to know what's happening in the economy and the world and moving abroad why? Why would I want to know that? And I have told my family, I have even taken myself out of the family group chats because I don't want to hear all that stuff. I don't listen to the news anymore. I was a broadcast news reporter. I don't need to listen to the news anymore. I already know the spin we put on it. I already know all that. I don't play those games because it's all just it's you don't even want to know. That's another topic. When Donald, that's the only thing I agree with Donald Trump. Fake news. That's it. That's the only thing that he and I have in common. Okay. But, getting falling victim, because it is being a victim to what they say in media and on the news. There are people who are living their life to the fullest. There are people making money. There are people sailing on yachts. My cousin built this beautiful beach house on what's it called in South Carolina? Um, Hilton Head on the beach, has two yachts. You think he's worried about the economy? He's not even thinking about the economy because he's using his gifts to be of service to people, and he's getting paid accordingly, and he's living his life. If we allow fear about what's going on in this world to stop us, there's always going to be, look, there were wars before. Wars, this war is now, but there were wars before where our kids were going off to war. We don't have that now, at least not right now. It could be in the future, we don't know, but should that stop you from living your life? I don't think so. Actually, I know so. And it could be 10 years from now. Like, well, then you have 10 good years to live your life how you want to live it. If you have a house right now and you have an inkling to sell it, well, sell it, cuz you know what? It's just stuff. At the end of the day, it's just stuff. Unless you're using it as a tool to help you get to the next level, it's just stuff. And stuff you just need to get rid of. Are men allowed here? Sure, men are allowed here. We talk about women's stuff, but men are allowed here. Now, when we talk about, in my private community in the Freedom Collective, men are not allowed there. But here, yeah, sure, welcome. I used to cry every morning before I would log in. Oh my gosh, that's terrible, girl. Now you know. Now you know. You need to make a change. You now why are you living like that? I mean, I know why you're living like that because I was there. But what's causing you to stay? Tell me one good reason why, if you feel comfortable putting it out there. What's one good reason why you want to stay? Just checking because I enjoy your channel. Oh, thank you for checking. I appreciate that. And thank you for enjoying my channel. I appreciate that too. Yeah, Tracy, tell me why in the world are you staying? Just one reason that you would stay. Just one. So, like I said, your body already knows when you need to leave, and you have more money than you really think. Because if you have any kind of investment or something that things that you could sell, things are just it's cheaper here. Like you see those now. Look, I was living in Thailand for almost 4 months, and you know, I saw my apartment, my luxury apartment, was $400 a month. Now, with that, and the food is so cheap, you can live like that with, I don't know how much money you have, but you could live for a long time like that if you're coming from with US dollars. I'm not saying to get a job overseas or whatever. I mean, you could teach. I spoke with someone just yesterday. She interviewed me on her channel, and um, she's teaching and has a very good job. She lives in Southeast Asia, so she's got a very good job teaching. But if you don't want to do that, but you have and you have U.S. money, you're gonna live like a king and a queen, like an exit queen. I don't have a valid reason. You don't have a valid reason, Tracy. I'm gonna come through this screen. God. What do you mean you don't have a valid reason and you're still there? Have you joined the Freedom Collective yet? That's right, exit queen. Join the Freedom Collective. Are you 50 and over? Come join us. Let's talk. How much do you spend on food in Thailand in a month? Oh, wow. It was so cheap. I mean, now let me just say Thailand was not of the place for me because, I just the air quality and, long term. And it was just too much. There was a lot going on. For me, I know there were people probably older than me that are there, but it's just not for me. Like I loved Vietnam even more than I loved Thailand. But it was just so much happening every time, every place you go. But the food was so cheap, and it depends on where you go. Like you could, they tell you you can eat on the market stands, which is probably, I don't even know what that's equivalent to, 10 cents, 20 cents to eat at the little market stands. Um, if I would go to have a meal out, or I would go to like Hot Pot, I would probably end up spending $8 or $10, and that's a lot for a meal to get like completely full. So it's very inexpensive for food. Agreed. Vietnam is amazing, isn't it? Oh, yes. And the whole vibe there is much more friendly. Not that, people in Thailand were friendly, but for me, the smiles came from the workers. not from the locals there who were just, also living in luxury apartments and stuff. They had their heads down in their phones, they're not looking at anybody, not trying to engage. Like here in Spain, there's not a day that goes by when I don't walk outside my door and people are trying to talk to me, communicate, telling me good morning, good evening, how are you? Oh, what are you doing? Like just on a regular, not trying to, like if it's a man trying to brush up on me or something, although that happens. But I mean, women too. Like they're just so friendly. And if I tell them, and I will tell them, like, oh, I'm learning Spanish. I, only know a little bit of Spanish. They still will go on and on and on talking to me as if like, oh, it's okay, poco a poco, go on and on. And I just think that's so wonderful. I've met so many beautiful people here and made friends and stuff. I love it here. I don't want to be in an area where I have to rely on to make sure there's other people here speaking English. Or I just don't want that. That's not the life that I wanted. I'm new here from Virginia, USA. All right, Virginia. I like Virginia. Well, welcome. Customer service in Vietnam is top tier, isn't it though? It really is. I completely agree. Yep, that's what I experienced as well. They will go above and beyond. Yeah. And the people that were there are just yeah, they're just very helpful. They're very helpful. Even the expat people were different. I felt like it was a different vibe. Like the expats there were friendlier than they were in Thailand. In Thailand, there was almost like an air about them, and they were like, "Oh, like they were uppity." Yeah, I'll use the word uppity. And then you have people who go there, they're just like scammers. They were scammers in the US and they moved to Thailand because they can scam even better and get over. And another topic, another video. Yeah. There's a lot going on there. There's too much. But I'm gonna be back because my son lives there. So I'll be back again and stay there for a while, because when it gets cold here, I mean, it doesn't get cold here. It's not like the US, but why not? I got options. I might go there. I might go to Taiwan this time, but I'll definitely spend some time with my son. Yeah, I like that seeking truth. Seeking truth. But we all have options and we can usually make the move sooner versus later. And if you already know, now see here, I don't know if you guys can hear the bells. Can y'all hear that? Now I've noticed every country has their sounds. Every single country. And here it's the bells. I mean, these bells ring all hours of the day, constantly. In Thailand, you have what do you have? You have the people on the loudspeakers selling stuff on the street. In Vietnam, it's the bun man with a megaphone. Every place it's something. Put the bells up, yeah, the big bells because it's loud. Is your daughter living abroad too? No, she's not living abroad. My daughter went to an international boarding school, so everybody there came from all over the world. So she got to meet different people of different cultures that way. And because of the friendship that she established with them, she started traveling to their homes. And this school was so expensive. She got a full scholarship to go, and these kids had so much money. Well, their parents had well, no, the kids had so much money too because the parents were giving them money. They were picking them up for like during their breaks and stuff in private jets. And they pick up my daughter too. They're like, "Oh, can she come with us home? Because we're gonna be, we're gonna be gone for a couple of weeks, and can she please come?" Like, because my daughter's very friendly and she made friends very easily. She was riding in private jet since the ninth grade, and now it's like, okay. And I remember when her father didn't want her to go because he's like, if she experiences this kind of stuff now at this young age, what is she gonna expect when she gets, later on? What's gonna happen? I said, you know what? We're gonna have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Because if your child gets accepted in a full scholarship from a school that charges $85,000 a year, you let them go. Okay? Period. But actually I had planned for her to go um, to boarding school since she was little. So that was already on her trajectory. But no, she doesn't live abroad. She's going to be here in 5 more days. I'm beyond excited. Oh, so happy. She was in Thailand with me for part of the time during her break. So we got to spend Christmas together with my son. So that was the first actual time when the three of us had vacation together, and we did so much stuff together. We had so much fun, just the three of us. And I remember my sister wanted to go too. I was like, no, you can't go. It's just the three of us. Because I've never been alone with just my kids before and had a vacation. And it was wonderful. And so now my daughter's coming here. She's going to spend her summer here, of course, between seeing her friends, because she has some friends over in France, and she's going to hang out with them for a couple of weeks and then come back. And she might go to Barcelona and stuff. But otherwise, she's living her life because she saw me living mine. Her last place before that, I think, was where'd she go? Last summer, she went someplace in between there, between Thailand, and she went to China. And then she found out that one of her friends was in the next town over in China. And so they met up while they were there together and hung out and stuff. I mean, like, how random, you know, and it's because you expose your kids to different things. They have these great opportunities, and you think, like, there's other people doing the same thing with their kids. We want to keep our kids in like this box of, okay, this is what you do. You go to school, then you get a job, and then you get a job that has a pension, and then you retire. I told my kids from day one, like, look, start thinking about what you want to do to create your own and have your own business. Because you don't have to go to college. You don't have to go to college, have those big student loans. I mean, if you get a scholarship, that's one thing. But if you don't, and you don't want that debt, and you don't want to be taking classes that are going to be not only obsolete by the time you finish, but also that's not going to actually teach you to have your own business. It's just going to be all this random information, even when you have a specific major. Then don't do it. Like, create your own, establish a business that's going to be of service to other people, give you income. But otherwise, if you don't have the business, then go to college. It's one or the other. Establish your business first, think about that first. But if you can't think of anything, if you don't have anything, then go to college in the meantime. Like, it's something you should do to just keep your mind going and to keep, working towards something. Because I don't feel like college teaches you how to establish yourself in this world. I really think that they teach you, especially like every different college that you go to, you have to have 101 this and this that's particular to this college, and orientation and all this. It's such a waste of money. It's such a scam. And I can't stand it. And that's another topic for another video. Hey, Miriam, no one told me, but I figured out somewhere along the way after college that I get to create my own life. Yes, that's right. That's right. You get to create your own life. Yeah. And welcome, first of all. Thank you for being here, Celeste. Um, yeah, we get to create our own life. And we don't have to do like society tells us. And especially in the same route that society will tell us. I mean, I can tell you, I don't know many people at all who are using what they learned in college, in their major, that they're using it in their for a living. Like unless they're a physician or something's a specialist like that, or an attorney or something. Even then, some of them I know, they decided not to practice after they spent all of that money. They decided that it wasn't for them. And they decided, oh, they did it because of the family, or because they thought it was, people convinced them that that was their path. So we had to learn to tune in earlier rather than later to what we need to do. But, like I said from the start of this video, don't wait. Don't wait until your health has declined. And, like I did, I wish I had left sooner. I, I wish I had left sooner. But, if I had, I wouldn't have gone through what I had. I wouldn't be the exit queen today and be here to tell you about my journey had I left sooner. So, everything happens for a reason. God has a purpose for everything that we do. I just went to my 30th college class reunion, and we all asked each other if we were doing what we went to school for. Most of us were not. See? Yeah, right. Exactly. Because we follow what other people tell us we should do. Like one thing, when my daughter comes here, I want to have some real heart to heart conversations with her. And I want to talk to her about her next path, her next steps, because she is one who, that girl is so brilliant. And truth be told, I told her that like she didn't have to go to college, but she wanted to. She wanted the experience. Okay, go to college. But now that you're in college, what are you going to do? Like, I'm always like, okay, what's next? What's next? What are you going to do with it? Like, let's figure this out, because I don't want you to waste your time at all. You know, yes, you got scholarship money and stuff, but this is still time that you could be doing something else. Because I know a lot of young people who are making a lot of money right now online. They're figuring it out early. I mean, whew, I can't imagine all these young people who are getting rich right now. What I'm doing didn't even exist as a field 30 years ago. What is it? What are you doing? And are you working remotely? My daughter is graduating next year, and I'm encouraging her to seek employment outside the US. Hallelujah. That's right. I tried to convince my daughter to go to school outside the US, because I said, even if you go to school, she is going to do a year abroad. But I said, even if you go to do the first few years abroad and you come back, you're going to graduate sooner, because the schools, for the most part, are more advanced. The colleges, the universities abroad. And you're going to come back and you're going to be so much further ahead and get and graduate earlier. People don't realize that. And it's just a shame what we're taught in the US, how we're so boxed in and brainwashed, really. Hmm. Yeah, tell me what you do for a living, Celeste. What kind of job is that? I would encourage all the young people to just travel overseas so you can see what else is out there, because I can't stand when people say, well, you're in the US now. You're in the US. And like as if that's so much better than everywhere else. It's not. I know people who came to the US who had much money, a lot of money in the country where they were, came to the US and regret it because they were thinking, oh, if I have money here in the US, I'm going to have much more money. Doesn't work like that. And they regret it and wish that they had stayed exactly where they had the connections, the family, the friends, and then they are starting over from scratch because they had to learn the language. They had to, the money that they had that where they were so wealthy in their country, it's not equivalent to US money. So they're starting from scratch. But we're trying to go the reverse, to have money to go to a place that's cheaper so we can be like kings and queens in those countries. It's one thing if you have um just forgot what I was going to say. Something about having money coming from a wealthy family. I don't know. But we're all victims of social media. We really are. And they were too. And I asked them, I asked like four people, why did you move to the US? What made you move to the US? And they told me social media and the news because of what they saw. And to me, you know what that's like? It's like when people say, oh, don't travel to um, Iran or don't travel to Pakistan. They're bombing over there and they're killing everybody. There's people going back and forth there every single day. That's their country. And even when it's not there's people they're visiting also. It's not in every single part of that country that's happening. I remember because I just recently came from Morocco and a friend of mine was supposed to meet me there. Is she on this live? Let me see. No, she's not on live. Maybe she might see it later though. Well, she and I have already talked about this. She decided not to go because of the wars that were going on and she didn't want to like have anything go wrong and stuff. I'm like, but what if it goes right? What if it goes right? And I was not upset at all. I'm like, hey, you got to do you. But there's nothing in my mind that's telling me, and I listen to my body now. That's one thing I do now. But there was nothing telling me that I should not go. But she missed out on a great opportunity to go. And now she wants to go, I think she said in August when it's like sweltering there. That's too hot because it was hot when I went. And that was in April. So August, no. Mm-mm. I'm not getting on no camel's back with all those flies and stuff in August. That's not going to happen. But you can't listen to social media. I figure, if something is so major that happens, I'm going to find out about it on TikTok. I am. They're going to post it all over the place and I'll have no choice but to see it. I don't need anybody sending me a news article or telling me, what's happening and all of this stuff that's wrong and I just don't want to fill my mind with that kind of um, distressing news because I don't need that in my life. There's no reason for it. There's nothing I can do about it. So why am I going to think about it? I voted and I think did I vote in the very last election? No, no, I didn't because I wasn't there. But I voted in every election. Did I still didn't feel like I could do anything about it. And they say, yeah, every vote counts. Yes, every vote counts. But the fact that this is so off tangent, but anyway, we're talking together, right? So the fact that every 4 years they can obliterate what was done before and change everything anew, like according to the to who's in office, I I would, for me, I would rather have a king or queen where there's just one person, their family ruling, and you know what's to come for years and years, rather than, okay, every 4 years is going to be different. Like that makes no sense to me. Like, you mean all of this, the healthcare that was established, all of this stuff that was done is now, it means nothing, like it no longer existing. No. And see, that's why the dollar is so weak now, because people keep changing things all the time, and there's just no balance to it, no steadiness, and the greed and the corruption. Me personally, there's nothing I can do about it. So I don't want to think about it. I don't want to hear about it. You didn't ask my opinion for me to give it to you, so no. I had an argument one time with Governor Chris Christie when I was a news reporter, and I had to interview him on something. Oh, he did something with, it was some kind of scam about with the bridge, the George Washington Bridge, and he didn't want to answer my question that I posed to him. You know, because it's all corruption, just all corruption. And they always try to make it seem like they're the most honest people and stuff, but and a lot of times they could be, but once they get into office, it's not that they're corrupt. It's just that the people around them are corrupt, and they have to do the will of the people around them. They do. They can't live in a vacuum on their own. Anyway, um I tried to get my niece to seek employment abroad after college. Yeah, good. Users, and yes, I work remotely. User experience. Oh, that's a good job. Yeah. A lot of people are taking courses for that now, to do that, because that's good money, good US money to take with you wherever you go. That's amazing. I knew about the tsunami on IRC 2 hours before it appeared on Yahoo. What's IRC2? IRC, I mean. Am I missing something? IRC, what could that be? But is that some kind of social media platform? Internet relay chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I used to have the Citizens app. Anybody ever have that? That thing told me all kinds of stuff. Like, they don't have it here, but I mean, I could still find out from any point in time anywhere in the world what's going on, because or whoever has the Citizens app. I posted things on there myself, but everything was on Citizens app. I remember when I worked for this one guy, and this one is with dentist, and he said, "Oh, nothing goes on in this neighborhood." And it was a posh area in New York City. Nothing goes on over here. Well, the Citizens app begs to differ, because right here on the corner, somebody got stabbed yesterday, and 2 days ago there was somebody with a gun that got shot. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about, because we live in our own world in our minds. So that just goes to show you, you can believe whatever you want to believe, good or bad. We can have our whole lives in like um, a zone of everything's good, everything's positive if we want to. And we can live like that. We can live our lives like that without any interference from anybody else if we don't want it to, unless it like if we're completely confronted with it. So I don't listen to the news and stuff anymore. Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. Oh gosh, Krispy Kreme donuts. Mm-mm. The system is broken, corrupt via design. Yeah, it's all by design. It is. The work week is designed. The work week was designed. We were working more then than we're working now. And then they said, oh, well, you know what? We should give them 2 days to recuperate on a Saturday and Sunday at least. So, that's how we got that. And then they started giving us vacation days. Okay, well, like in my job, they were like, yeah, but you're taking it at the absolute worst time. Every time is the worst time, every single time, every time. I got to make myself available what? While I'm on the beach during my vacation that I only get once a year. What? Oh, you're going away for 30 days to Rome? Oh, and we got to hold it down for you? Like those are the kinds of conversations that we'd have. The Democrats don't do anything for Black Americans. You know what? Coming from a long history of Democrats in my family, you right. You absolutely right. You know, Black folk were Republicans before they were Democrats. You know, and that's a whole nother topic. See, it existed since 1988. The OG messenger. Oh, I don't even know if I know any. Well, I probably do know about it and don't use it. Boots on the ground boots on the ground is what you can trust these days. Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true. Yep. I rely on somebody like, for example, perfect example, when the blackout happened here in Europe. I got here when 2 weeks before the blackout happened. I didn't know any of my neighbors. I didn't know anybody. And maybe it was a week before. And all of a sudden, all I knew was everything went out. I didn't know why. And I was like, oh, Lordy, like what's going on? And that's how I became friends with everybody. And they took me in and fed me and just, I mean, this was all day into the evening, into the late night. And then I finally came back to my place and went to sleep. And the next day, everything was back on again. Was it back on again? No, not till the afternoon. But still, I mean, I didn't know. I didn't have TV and everything. So if you don't have all of that stuff and things happen, what are you going to do about it anyway unless you're confronted with it? Like I'm not wasting my time worrying. I don't want to see the little ticker going across to see all the people that are doing wrong and all the bad things that are happening. Give me some good stuff. My favorite content was when I was a news reporter, I did all kinds of content, but I love doing the feature stories and lifestyles. I always like to see people who are doing something for the community, and I would love to do stories like that. You have a very calming vibe. Thank you. It's probably because I am a Reiki master. That's probably why you're sensing it. You take it when they tell you to take it. Yeah, true. Chris Christie is known in New Jersey as Krispy Kreme. Oh, is he really? Oh, because he's so heavy. At one point, he lost a little bit of weight and then gained it back. I never understood, like, you got that much money, you should hire a personal trainer, somebody to beat you so that you lose the weight. like whatever it takes. Yeah. Remember he was best friends with Trump for a while? Yeah, Trump dissed him. Weekend. Yes. Yep. Neither party does. The system is broken. Right wing, left wing, same. Yeah, that's true. Agreed. Midnight. Yeah, 100 feet and hands in black earth soil. I have second degree Reiki. Oh, excellent. See, one knows the other. I just got here by suggestion. What's the topic of discussion? That's ignorant. What's ignorant? The topic. So I started talking about and got off on a tangent, but we were talking about oh, my little dog, he's been wanting to go out for the longest time. I started this live on time. I was supposed to start it at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I started it on time and it didn't record. And I was talking to myself for 40 minutes and didn't realize it. So I had to do it again. And my dog had wanted to go out. And I was like, oh, please, just let me do this again. And he's still like, now he's sleeping. So I feel like I'm okay. But we started off, I came on because I did a part one of the math of moving abroad. And this time I decided to go even deeper in the math of it and how I actually moved abroad financially. And I was talking about how I still have bills in the US. I paid a large sum of them off before I left. I had storage units, two big storage units. I downsized it to one. And my point was that, a lot of people who don't want to make the move abroad have a lot more money than I even did. But because the cost of living is so much cheaper abroad, it's like, why not? Why not move? And you can always go back if you want to. There's always that. But if something's in your mind to do it, then do it. Don't wait until, like I did, your health is deteriorating, your you're at a place where you can't move because you don't have the finances at all. Because if you have the finances now, the only thing that's going to happen in America is that it's going to keep taking from you. It's going to keep sucking you dry. I mean, I can't tell you. It just always seemed like that's where the phrase comes from. There's always going to be something. There's always something. Because there really always was. It's like, oh, I never could get ahead in the US. Here is the first time where I feel like I'm ahead. Like I can be relaxed. I'm at peace. I got bills, but they're like, you know what? It's just something. It's just a thing like that I just oversee. It's no more like this big, heavy weight on me anymore. They're still there, but I don't think of it the same way anymore. I don't need to because the cost of living is so much cheaper here. I was telling them about how I got groceries the other day that filled my freezer with meats and the refrigerator for 60 euro. Like it was so much cheaper. That would have easily cost me at least 250 to $300 at least. So, if you want to move abroad, I always say go ahead, do it. I remember going to one of the events for I don't know if you know the channel Our Rich Journey, and they're such wonderful people. They live in Portugal, and they're always telling people come to Portugal, come move to Portugal. And they've been saying that for years, right? I mean, I've watched them since like I don't know years now, and now they've got gray hair. But they've been saying that for the longest time, and they love Portugal. Their kids grew up there, and it is a wonderful place. Portugal's not for me, but I understand what they're saying because things are just so much cheaper. Your money such it goes further, and you can have that better quality of life when you move abroad. Your school says for 50 plus women, but I'm 32. Can I still join? Oh, honey, no, you cannot. That's a straight answer. And I'm a very direct person. And I don't mean it with any disrespect. It's just that We have 50 and over, we just have gone through some stuff, and we talk about things like menopause, which you haven't gone through yet. And um, yeah, so there's a lot of talk that you just haven't experienced yet. And when you get a little older, and then you can come join us over there. But right now, it's just 50 and over. But I'm so glad that you even bothered to search for it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Our rich journey is so inspiring, aren't they though? They're so wonderful, and their whole community. I'm in some of their communities too, with other people that follow them, and they're wonderful also. Very inspiring. And they have like book clubs and things. It's great. Thanks for the info. You're welcome. Thank you. I graduated from menopause a couple of years ago. Woohoo! Yeah, I that is a celebration. And my gosh, I started early. I was like, and I always say that my daughter is like a miracle baby because I thought I was done. I thought I was done. Like I was finished with all of that stuff. Like I wasn't finished. I was in menopause, perimenopause, and but I wasn't getting all those symptoms and stuff. I wasn't getting my period anymore, and then all of a sudden here she comes, and she's like the best, the best. I can't wait. She doesn't like to be in my videos, but I'm hoping that she will do some things with me here, and we can do a video together or live together. I don't know. Depends on her mood. She's still a teenager. You know how they are. So I think I better go and walk my dog, my little baby. He's so patient. I wish I could show you guys, but he's so wonderful. I'm so glad that I brought him with me because I always like to have live things around. Like plants are one thing, but a little animal to take care of, since I'm not gonna have no babies anymore. A little animal is nice. He's nice. He's a nice companion to have. And somebody asked me that today. He didn't even ask me, like, see, and that's something else. Like I was at the laundromat, and because I got to get a washing machine here. But until I do that, I go to the local laundromat, and this guy was like, "Oh, he's like, oh, your dog is so cute. He's a great companion, it seems like." And I was like, yeah, and he's speaking in Spanish. So I understand what they say. It's just that me speaking is very slow because I have to think of the words and stuff. So it slows me down. But, like he was just having a whole conversation with me, and I told him that I only understand some of I tell them that I only understand some of what they say because I think it's going to slow them down. It doesn't slow them down. They keep talking the same pace. So and then the other day or last week, I was at the laundromat because it was just like laundry week because I had to do my laundry and I wanted to do blankets and stuff. And this this other man, he was an older man, and I'm going to say older because I'm getting up there. He was actually old. He came over to me and said, "Oh, you want me to help you fold your blanket?" And I said, "Sure." He grabbed two ends of the blanket, and I grabbed the other ends, and we started like folding the blanket together. I mean, how nice is that? How nice is that? This is what I experience on a daily basis. You think they would do that in New York or New Jersey? No, they just wouldn't. They'd be like pretending they were on their phone and looking, to see what I was doing and see if I was finished or whatever. Nobody's going to ask anybody if they want help. It just doesn't exist. So I'm glad that I'm done with all of that. I really kind of dread going back to handle that storage unit that's left there, but I got to get that stuff out of there. I have some things in there that I need to sell, and I wanted to hand them down to my kids, but they don't want them, so now I got to sell them because I'm not going to bring them here. They're just too huge. So, yeah. So I got to sell them, and I got to do that. But it's paintings. They're original pieces of artwork that I need to sell. And yeah, but it's an investment. They're investment pieces that once I sell them, that's money that I can do something with. It's just a tool. And those paintings at the end of the day is just stuff. It's just stuff. Like, would I rather have a stuff sitting on the wall, or would I rather be able to travel? And I'd rather travel. And that's it. So, well, thank you everyone for being on my live today. I appreciate it greatly and enjoy this conversation. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Tracy. Thank you, Francis. Thank you, everybody. Seeking Truth, Poetry Informal, Midnight Shift Music. Are you a musician? And WW Shadow 7. Thank you all for being here. I truly appreciate you. And I will see you soon. Bye, everybody. Thank you.